Microsoft Windows is the worst anything that any human has produced. I swear to goodness. It is the worst because everything works 1 minute in terms of audio visual, and then it will just stop working at a random time. But that's all right. I'm here with you now. I do not have echo or noise canceling. So hopefully like a cat or a vacuum doesn't like invade the stream, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, all right. So today I want to talk about discernment, and it's actually a pretty good day to talk about discernment because there's been an ongoing problem with influencers, say a lot of influencers who are full of crap, and somehow they have a following. Now I know all of you guys who are watching this are too smart for that, right? You guys are way too smart to fall for these influencers. However, some people are not. So it's worth studying why these people get caught in the trap, right? So why do some people fall for these influencers? I'm going to focus on right-wing ones because I feel like the left-wing influencers they just lie. And that's not very interesting. It's not very interesting if someone just straight up lies. The right-wing influencers have a lot more finesse and a lot more strategies for how they deceive others, right? So we're going to focus on that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move my audio. How's my audio quality, if anyone can hear it? Because I am not using NVIDIA broadcast. NVIDIA just decided to stop broadcasting, ironically enough, anything. So I'll just close a bunch of windows. We'll bring up my notepad document. How to spot a BS artist. Toss it up on stage. All right, perfect. Yes, so it's actually pretty simple stuff. I'm going to move this stuff off the screen so you can't see it, and we'll get to it when we get to it. All right, but bottom line up front, the BLUF, right? This is when I was learning engineering communication. They say, if you're going to write an email, you're going to write a report, put the bottom line up front. Bottom line up front, the rocket exploded. We determined it was an ignition issue. We recommend this. And then you go on and do all your explanations. Because it's called an executive summary. But the executive summary for this broadcast is that I'm going to just curse. So I hope you don't mind me cursing. If you don't want me to curse, just put in the chat if you don't want me to curse. But a BS artist, a bullshit artist obfuscates information. What they do is they do information management, not just information delivery. Okay. Information delivery is a type of information management, sure. But they start trying to own the information that you have access to. Now, this goes for governments, it goes for people, and there's some sophisticated ways at which these bullshit artists actually control your information, and they use you as a tool to do it. They actually turn your own information immune system against you. Your own information immune system. So what does that mean? Well, normally you don't want to listen to people that are your enemy, that want bad things for you, right? You don't want to listen to them. I don't know whose phone number that was. Well, they got put on stream, so deal with it. They don't want. You don't want to listen to people that want bad things for you, right? So you have a certain friend and enemy sort of distinction there, not the actual friend-enemy distinction that bullshit philosophers will use. But there's a certain hey, this is a whitelist. I could trust this guy, right? There's some trust, and then there's distrust. That's a healthy immune system. There are certain things you shouldn't trust and certain things you should trust based on who it comes from, right? Now, the problem is that information managers, bullshit artists, they will try and manage who you can get your information from by using demonization tactics. So one of the main things I see on the right is I see things becoming taboo. You're not allowed to talk about this. You're not. Ironically, they'll say oh, you're not allowed to talk about Israel. They talk about Israel all damn day, to the point where I'm bored of it. And any suspicion I had about Israel is now overwhelmed by the amount of just straight up fatigue I have for that messaging. But they'll tell you that someone has a red flag. Oh, this person's bad or that person's bad, right? You've seen this before. You'll see that if I just do a Tucker Carlson impression, okay, he seems like a really bad guy, and I just don't trust him. That's what when he's doing that sort of shit. What he's doing is he's trying to make someone taboo, opposition taboo. He's trying to manage who you get your information from. That's a major red flag. Okay. Second one I want to talk about, and by the way, Candace Owens does this all the time too. The Epstein files is like, the whole Epstein file drama is lousy with this, because if you say anything that deviates from I'm going to say conspiracy theory. I don't like using that phrase because it's too derogatory, because a lot of conspiracy theories are true. But like anyone who deviates from the narrative that there is a global, powerful, blackmailing pedo ring out there, we will be told that you're running cover for pedos, right? That's what's happened to Michael Tracy. I don't like Michael Tracy. I enjoy that Michael Tracy shrieking on that floor when he's getting panned, because he doxed a lot of people. He doxed, was it Norm Cruise, I think? Oh no, it's Noam Bloom. Whoever. I put him in the enemy category a while ago, but enemies are still useful, and sometimes they actually tell the truth, right? Sometimes you have to listen to your enemies. He's doing a pretty decent job of actually going through the Epstein files. I was like, well, none of our guys seem to want to do it thoroughly, and then try to dispel these conspiracy theories. But he gets called, and I don't know if anything he says is true either. Like maybe he's full of it, right? But when I see the reaction, and the reaction is not to give him evidence that he's wrong or refute his argument, it's just personal attacks. That's what part of making things taboo is. Taboo, making persona non grata, right? You'll see that as well. Like, this person is now toxic. What they're doing is reputational damage. This is like some Mean Girl stuff. Oh yeah. Sorry, I kind of just jumped onto the subject tonight, but I got a new setup. I actually have a recliner. I've never part of my like revelatory for my lifestyle. I have never really bought a comfortable chair before. I've always bought like posture chairs or stools. I will literally sit on a stool, but I've decided I'm old as hell. I'm almost 40. I'm going to get a comfy chair. And I got to say, it's nice. It's weird. It's kind of good to have like something I can recline in before bed, right? Come down from the day on. But yes, I'm living like full monk mode. Like I'm in the Bastille, like it's the beginning of Tale of Two Cities. No more of that for me. I'm going comfort mode. I'm going soft. Sorry, Theodore Roosevelt. The love of soft living. Right. Yes, making persona non grata. Making people enemies. Telling you can't listen to somebody. I saw the same argument too. I see this on Twitter once in a while, where ladies will go hard against like pornography or something, right? They'll say like pornography is evil. You should never touch it. Any man that uses it is bad. And I'll make an argument of like, yeah, listen, lady, most guys have consumed pornography at some point, right? Like it obviously doesn't turn every single man into a howling demon. And there's some room for nuance in this discussion. And I agree that pornography is generally bad for guys. But I just don't think it necessitates the satanic panic level of freak out. And they'll just accuse you of being a pornography user. I was like, oh, that has nothing to do with my argument, though. You're just saying that I'm a porn user. You're not actually like engaging in a discussion, right? It's a very feminine way of dealing with stuff, like toxic feminine way of dealing with stuff, where it's like you don't want to deal with the point. It's just like, just stop talking and don't talk to them. Don't talk to Becca. Becca says bad things. You know, that's what Tucker Carlson is in his interviews, like saying that somebody's just a weird person. That's what he's trying to do. It's very Mean Girls. But almost all of our influencers are a bunch of theater kids. I would expect nothing less. So, right. So controlling information. Next bit of control of information. This one's really easy to spot. Only when you are really deep into it, right? Like once you've almost exposed them completely, you'll start to see this one. They'll start doing subject changes and hide info. This is when the taboo is not working, right? They've tried to make something taboo, and now people are bringing up information. So now they just have to like very clumsily pivot away. So if you see someone who tries to manage information by making it taboo, making trying to kill the messenger, and then just try to ignore the thing, that's always bad. And if someone on your own side does this, they're not on your side. This is so I have an inquisitorial tools, like tool chest, right? Tool set, better word. Inquisitorial. What does that mean? I'm very good at spotting bullshitters. Do it professionally. As a good engineer, any good engineer does, is you have to be able to spot bullshitters and you have to be able to respond accordingly. I've had multi-million-dollar like projects, and people want to sell us goods. They want to be a subcontractor or something like that. We're working with a contract manufacturer, and there's bullshit flying around everywhere, right? There's bullshit flying around everywhere. And you have the main thing you have to do to find out if someone's full of shit is you have to just check for consistency. And when I say consistency, like if you see someone getting really Tucker Carlson is such a good example actually of this, so I tend to focus on him. He gets really passionate about America's involvement in certain places and then not in others, right? He gets really passionate, and it seems like he has his favorite. He doesn't use the same principles everywhere, right? It's more or less like these are the people that I don't want you to attack, and these are the people that I don't care if you attack, right? So Tucker Carlson will not give you a consistent response, even though you're doing the same thing. It's just you've changed where you're doing it, right? Inconsistency is usually a major sign of bullshit. So principle inconsistency. Now, principle inconsistency is not in itself a bad thing, right? Like principles exist to, like rules exist to be broken sometimes. There's always exceptions, right? Without transparency. But the thing is, what you could do is you could tell us why you are no longer honoring this thing. Like you could tell us, hey, I'm a pacifist, and then you're in favor of a war. It was like, okay, why are you in favor of this war if you're a pacifist? Well, the answer is the war is there to try and stop this like genocidal regime. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because my pacifism is in it comes from a place where I want to preserve life, right? That's consistent. So you find out there's a deeper consistency underneath the inconsistency, and you need transparency to find that. Okay. I don't see a lot of transparency. What I see is coming from a lot of bullshit artists like Elijah Schaffer and whoever else, is they tend to do a lot of message bombardment, and they are focused on the message. They don't really tell you how they got there, right? This is another one. Anybody know what a shibboleth is? Shibboleth. There is a battle in ancient Israel, and there is a choke point, and you have to tell the password if you want to get through. All right. And the password is shibboleth. And the reason why it's shibboleth is because the enemy they were fighting all had like accents that would make it impossible for them to say that word. It's the same logic behind in the Battle of Peleliu or something like that, fighting the Japanese, is that we use Lilliputian or something like that as a password because the Japanese couldn't say it. Same thing, right? Shibboleths and in-group signifiers. The bullshit artists will grab onto shibboleths. They will use these to gatekeep. Christ is King is used as a shibboleth. And the reason why I say Christ is King is a shibboleth, it doesn't mean Christ is King. They've used that as a shibboleth. Is because if you say Christ is Lord, Christ is the King of King, Christ is the God Emperor of the cosmos, they're not satisfied. They want you to say specifically the phrase Christ is King. That means that it's no longer about the meaning of the words. It's now about it being a password. Okay. And what this means is that it's latching onto legitimacy. Bullshit artists are legitimacy parasites. And you'll see this. You'll see like television doctors, right? Everyone on daytime television who's recommending some bullshit. Well, some doctor, right? Well, the reason why they're a doctor and they went and got their medical degree was so they could have credentials. And they grab those credentials and they try to sell you some weight loss drugs, which up until this year didn't really exist. This is the reason why every single online grifter is like somehow a Catholic. Almost every single right-wing grifter, it doesn't matter how horrible, dishonest, lecherous, or homosexual that person is, somehow they're a Catholic. It doesn't matter how many times they countersignal the Pope. It doesn't matter how many times they countersignal Christianity itself. They're a Catholic, right? Why are they a Catholic? Because Catholicism is a Christian sect that is shrouded in legitimacy. And it's a great target to like elevate yourself. Now, of course, reputations and titles and words, credentials, all that stuff, they have a certain supply of credibility that these parasites will start to deplete, right? So it's going to mean less and less if someone's a Catholic. I think Elijah Schaffer probably has done the most damage to the Catholic label But I don't know if Candace Owens says she's a Catholic or not. I think she does. I don't know. This is the reason why all your credentials have to be protected, right? It shouldn't be that anybody could just pop on. Oh yeah, of course, Jack Posobiec, like waving the rosary, which is a specific. I've heard flaunting the rosary is a pretty grave sin. It's the prayer in public thing that Jesus Christ himself said not to do. But nobody calls him out on it, so he continues to do it, and eventually he'll just deplete the legitimacy of Catholicism. I don't really care. I'd like them to have the legitimacy. But anyways, message recycling. Okay. So message recycling. What does this mean? It means that they will reuse messages, and you'll see this on Twitter quite a bit, especially on the left, because the left is very sloppy. They will just copy paste old tweets. They will just copy paste old messages. So when you see this message recycling, is that they will have a bank of certain stories that they will bring forward. I hate to say it, the fella Sandy Peterson, I sort of on Twitter, he worked on Doom and Age of Empires. He kind of does this a lot, where he just has a bank of messages that he will just put up there for clickbait, right? This is a bullshit artist. A bullshit artist doesn't think independently. A bullshit artist tries to do what is popular. They're a dancing monkey trying to win your favor, trying to win your attention, win your trust, right? So they use different, then they're like it's like they're trying to break into a place. And someone who does breaking and entering has tools. And the message is the tool for the bullshit artist. So they will just reuse tools and see what works. You'll see it. It's almost like it is almost like a breaking and entering. Like they'll try the lock pick, they'll try the Jimmy the thing, they'll put the credit card in to see if they can move the deadbolt, all this stuff. And they will try different tactics. Bullshit artists have a set tool set of tactics that they will try. You'll see, and once you see them try to do it, it will keep going. Appeals to, and by the way, all these bullshit tactics tend to be a logical fallacy of some sort, like appeal to consensus. It might be a false dichotomy, that sort of thing. Look up logical fallacies. There's a great list of logical fallacies on Wikipedia, and you'll see those rife. You need to be able to spot logical fallacies, because that's when someone is trying to use the message and they're trying to conceal their thinking. All right, they're trying to win you over. They're doing a couple of cheap shots, right? So message recycling is a sign that they are doing appeals to popularity. Like they'll say, like, I don't know, hey guys, I don't know, well, oh yeah, pineapple on pizza or something like that. Or you'll notice they'll bring out these same messages over and over again. Hey, remember the time that Hillary Clinton did this? It's out of nowhere. He's just not getting engagement that day, and there's nothing else to talk about, so he'll just pull up some other bullshit message. All right. This usually tells you that they don't actually have any thoughts of their own. Just asking questions. This is an excuse to make up narratives. I'm just asking questions. Usually the just asking questions is also like the question they're asking is attached to a narrative that they've spun, right? Like if I go up to somebody and says, hey, did you stop beating your wife last night? Have you stopped beating your wife yet? It's like there's a narrative attached to the question. I'm not just asking a question. Again, this is a logical fallacy, right? There's a loaded question. They're asking loaded questions. A true and earnest question usually is almost entirely based on the information at hand. It doesn't create new information. It doesn't suppose new information, right? Okay. However, there are a lot of people that are very low IQ, not this audience, of course, but there are a lot of people who are very low IQ who will be won over by the, how do I want to call it? The tantalizing narrative that gets spun. You know, if I say, oh, someone got shot and the police found a gun in my car, so were you involved? I'm just asking questions. I was like, well, you've just made a narrative. I had a gun in my car, and you've left out a lot of details. Like maybe my gun has never been fired. Maybe my gun's not loaded. Maybe my gun was a water gun, right? Maybe it wasn't even a firearm. Didn't match the caliber. I'm just asking questions. This is laundering information. And you'll see this quite a bit, is that they will omit. They're just asking questions. Those questions most of the time are actually already answered with the information at hand, right? But they're just asking questions. Anybody who says I'm just asking questions is full of shit. Vague probing is a trick that cold readers will do, right? The just asking questions is literally just vague probing. You'll see when I said cold readers, I mean that literally, like the the psychics that you see, those charlatan psychics, all they're doing is I'm just asking questions. I think there's a Charlie. Someone in here knows a Charlie. It's really important to you. It's a family or friend or so. Oh, a Charlie. And then someone will go do the research for them. Candace Owens is famous for doing this, where she will pretty much just take what her audience gives her. And a lot of times the audience is not really her audience. It's a plant, and they're giving her bullshit so she can go spin some more bullshit. She's got an issue with her attitude and with her ego, so that she can never backpedal. She has a lot of trouble backpedaling, so it's easy to like peg her into a corner. Anyways, that sounds kind of raunchy. Anyways, yeah, the just asking questions stuff. It constructs a narrative. It introduces things that are not facts. It ignores facts that we do already know. If someone actually is earnest about asking a question, they will speak with their chest and point out. They won't do the cold reading thing. They will straight up say, like, where was this person when this happened? And it's something that's verifiable, right? The problem with the just asking questions is it's just there to make tantalize, and it's usually a question that can't ever be answered truly. That's a good probing question of like, here's a thing that you can't possibly falsify. Like, prove that you did not have communications with this person. I was like, well, I can't prove I didn't have communications. I can only show you the logs that I have and show that there's no logs with that person. I was like, well, you could have deleted information. I was like, well, yeah, I guess I could have, but like, I'm just asking questions. And I don't really know if you actually have you communicated with Epstein? Like, let's just say that someone's trying to say that I'm communicating with Epstein, right? I'm just sending emails over to his emails, public, by the way. I mean, guess no one's monitoring it. Maybe the FBI is, but like, Alex, prove that you don't have any communication with Jeffrey Epstein. I was like, well, I can't. All right, well, here's my whole Gmail history. Here's all of my Gmails. Like, well, you could have deleted stuff. Awfully convenient that you don't have any single that you're so adjacent to this case and you have no communication with Epstein at all. It's like, well, I can't tell you that I didn't delete stuff, I guess. And then let's say the FBI is like, all right, fine, we'll subpoena Google, the Gmail server, see if there's any record of deletions. Well, they didn't find a record of deletion. I was like, well, who said anything about a Gmail? Maybe it was communications through something else. I mean, do you have any other alias? And it just goes on and forever. The just asking questions are always open-ended. And it's always to have, oh, there's more. So that way, vindication is always one tantalizing nugget away from right now. And it's a great way of stringing readers along, the just asking questions. But life doesn't work like a narrative, right? Anyways. Yeah. Message bombardment. Message bombardment is a really good sales tactic where you create FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But message bombardment also knocks people off of their certainty, right? So there's the Gish Gallop. You guys ever know what the Gish Gallop is? The Gish Gallop is a tactic used in argumentation where you start listing off lots and lots of little factoids that don't actually mean anything, neither by themselves nor altogether. It's just me stating a bunch of stuff that might be coincidences, half-truths, irrelevant but tantalizing facts. You know? I don't know. Let's just say there was a bomb. Let's say there's a bombing in Nashville, right? And someone wants to peg it on, like, put me as the culprit. They'll say, and let's say I was visiting Nashville at the time of the bombing. They'll list off, well, Alex, you're an engineer, right? You're politically involved. You were at the time, you were there at the time, and your phone shows no record whatsoever of any pictures that you've taken at your visit to Nashville. What were you doing in Nashville? You weren't sightseeing. So there's no phone calls, no text, no pictures, nothing. It's like, well, I just went to Nashville to go get a drink. That's it. A drink with who? Well, nobody. I just go in there to get a drink by myself because I'm a straight up alcoholic. They're like, well, that's awfully convenient, don't you think? So you're just there. It's like you're just needling me over, and it's like you've just given a bunch of facts that mean nothing, right? And you use the phrase awfully convenient a lot. And you can pretty much get a bunch of idiots to believe anything. Just Gish Gallop, like throw out factoids and say, well, it's awfully convenient. The idea is that you're trying to make enough information that anybody can fill in their own bad faith interpretation. The number one principle of sales and persuasion, I think, is that people believe what they want to believe. So you have to give them a rational pathway to justify their own belief. That's what everyone wants. I wake up one day and I say, I want to believe in Bigfoot. Well, guess what? Anybody that's pro Bigfoot has my viewership, has my subscription. Anybody who's anti Bigfoot is a big, mean, bad person. I don't like them. That's it. That's all there is to it. A lady will wake up one day and decide she hates men, and she will find enough facts and enough teachers that she can become a feminist. Same thing for dudes. There's a whole, and this is by the way, this is the entire basis of the entire online viewer sphere, is people that have a preset belief and they're looking for easy answers in an easy narrative. Like here's a really good one. Actually, I did this a long time ago about the red pill guys. And the red pill guys are essentially I wouldn't say their thesis, but their belief is that there are no good women anymore. Laws make it so that you can't, like, marriage doesn't work anymore. There's no hope in getting married. Women are awful, blah, blah, blah. Right. And you can see tons of, and this was big like a few years ago. Every bald, beard-headed dude who looks like he eats a lot of barbecue would have his own, like, red pill coach or red pill this, that, and the other. And it was big around 2020. And you had this entire ecosystem of people that would sell workshops, sell merch, sell memberships into clubs, to pretty much just shit on women and then confirm the belief that women are awful because at 16 years old, you got your heart broken. That's it. It's like, oh, I got my heart broken, and therefore it's easier to blame somebody else than to just say, like, well, shit happens. The uncertainty of life. Like, yes, relationships have uncertainty. Yes, relationships have problems. Yes, relationships are not balanced. Yes, the law does affect marriage, right? It always has. But just like that 4chan post, well, I get into it because the 4chan post is pretty funny. There's a 4chan post about someone who says, back in the day before the internet was really popular, you would say, hey, I want to have sex with toasters. And everyone would just call you a freak and tell you you're lame. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? They bully you out of your toaster sex lifestyle. Now with the internet, though, is that there's always a community for everything, including people who want to have sex with toasters. Okay, so now you get tons of reinforcement. This used to be behavior that you just bully out of people. Oh, there are no good women. All women are whores. Boo-hoo. But like, well, you call my mom a whore, you call my wife a whore, you call my girlfriend a whore, you call my daughter a whore, I'm going to beat your ass. And then they would have to change their mind. But the problem is now they get to speak behind some microphone someplace, and they don't actually have to be confronted with other opinions in person. So they spiral out into being the most foul opinions ever, right? Same thing with Candace Owens. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. A lot of the Jew hate, the anti-Semitism. I don't agree with certain people that think that there was ever a classy form of anti-Semitism. I just think it's straight up brain rot. The reason I think this is because everyone's looking for someone to blame, and some shadowy cabal of some sort fits their narrative so well. I'm actually going to put that on here soon. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to take this off the screen. Everything fits their narrative, right? Everything fits their narrative. No information, no minds need to be changed. Nothing that they've ever found has ever been inconsistent with their narrative. Even the things that are inconsistent with it, they'll use it as like, well, that's the exception to the rule, and they'll go on. There's no room whatsoever to change their thinking, right? Because again, someone who's a bullshit artist, their message, they're trying to deliver a message. It's all about the message. It's the same stuff. That's why a lot of the woke right people look like, that's why they're kind of woke right. Like they look like the left, because the left is all about the message. Whereas these right wing people are also about not all right wing people, obviously, because I am probably pretty right wing, sort of woke right. I don't know, radical right. They're all about the message too. It's always got to be about Israel. It's always got to be about, I don't know, the Uniparty. It's all about Epstein. It's all about this. It's all about that, right? Alex Jones is really bad about this, where he has his like rogues gallery of bad guys, and it's always them. It's always them. Everything fits the narrative. Listen here, people. Listen here, people. It's a damn lizard, people. You know, it's all, it's the same shit. Potbelly, although and he's funny. He's really funny, right? But some people like fall for it and like, well, Alex Jones is right. And I was like, Alex Jones spams the field. He does message bombardment. And the thing about message bombardment is you can be right about a couple of things, and then people will think that you're prophetic, and then you just don't ever count your misses. There was one account that on Twitter that was cited as they said that NFL is fake, football is fake, and what they did was they posted what was going to happen in the game like 5 minutes beforehand. Every single thing that happened in the game. And you're like, whoa, football is fake. The NFL's fraudulent, right? The thing is they spammed the field. All right, they were only prophetic if you only looked at the stuff they were right. All the stuff they were wrong about, they would just delete. So they would say every single possible combination of what could happen. And they would get one of them right, and they would delete all the wrong ones. And the people in the future don't see all those deleted ones. Right? They only see the right ones. And they look prophetic when it's just a bunch of bullshit. And I'll bring my whiskey bottle over here. Right? You get me, though. Message bombardment. And I'm going to say only counts. Oh, my gosh. Only counts the wins, ignores the losses. This is, again, about message management. Conceal their thinking, full-scale message management. This is the reason why a lot of the legacy media is no longer trusted, right? It's because they curate the message too much. Well, the influencers do the same thing. A lot of them do the same thing, right? They want full-scale message management. They want to know. They want to tell you what you're not allowed to think about. They want to tell you who you're not allowed to listen to. They will move off of things if it's inconvenient. They will change their principles to match whatever their agenda is without telling you why. They'll use legitimacy and shibboleths to signify their in-group. They will promote fear. They will promote, I'm going to say visceral. So fear, etc., reactions, and a feeling of urgency. Yeah, that's like a feeling of urgency is a pretty basic bitch sales tactic, right? Like it's 40% off, but only today. Right. My wife is at a convention right now selling stuff, and she has a sign that says her stuff is $75 right now and $110 after the convention. Right. So if you want to save 40%, you actually have to buy her stuff right then and there. And that's because the Etsy takes too much money out. She's not actually doing it as a sales tactic. It's just a cold hard fact about doing business on Etsy. Is that Etsy has a 40% premium on what you sell. A 40% markup built into everything on Etsy. FYI. Yes. All right. And the last one here is associative wording. Associative wording when there is no real association. Okay, this is a really interesting one because you can hide a lot of bullshit with associative wording, right? There was a arrest by ICE recently. And ICE was associated with the death of a teacher. All right, the homicide of a teacher, local teacher, beloved, blah, blah, blah. Here's a picture of her with her graduation gown. What a great woman she is. I cannot believe that ICE was involved in her death. ICE didn't kill her. ICE was chasing a guy, and the guy ran, like he in his Jeep or vehicle or whatever it was, ran a red light, and smashed this poor woman to death. However, ICE is the one associated with it. You know, ICE arrest results in. So the phrase like results in, associated with, that stuff. These are called weak associators. And if they're using a lot of weak associators, weak associative words, like associative is a weak associative word. It doesn't establish any relation. It just says they're there. And you also see this with a lot of the Epstein stuff. So we're going to go through this, by the way. We're going to go back through this and just apply Epstein to all this. And you'll see that you've pretty much been had, because almost everything about Epstein is a bunch of bullshit. I think Trump was correct when he said it was a hoax, because it seems like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's a bunch of weird perverts doing weird pervert shit. I was like, well, that's just rich people who have powerful people who have money. And the guy is an information broker. I think there was one email where it seemed like he was pressing somebody that could be construed as blackmail. It was like one email out of 3 million files. I was like, okay. I mean, I've told people that, hey, I'm going to tell your wife that embarrassing story if you don't grab a 6-pack. I was like, I'm technically blackmailing a dude. But anyways. Right. So let's go through his the Epstein lens for this stuff. Trying to make the opposition taboo. Obviously, if you say that Epstein is anything other than a powerful global cult of baby-eating pedophiles in a blackmail ring to control the world, well, then you're covering for pedophiles. So there we go. That's making persona non grata. That's all, or that's part of that as well. Like, I am now persona non grata. I'm not allowed to oppose the severity of Epstein. I think I saw Dan Tubb from the Lotus Eaters saying, like, why are people trying to downplay Epstein? I was like, well, that's their opinion. I'm not trying to downplay Epstein. I'm like, right now I'm downplaying. That's also another weak associative word, because it's easy to downplay stuff. It's easy to say I'm downplaying stuff. I'm just stating a counter opinion. That's so it's not just weak associative words. Then it's also, inferencing. What do you call it when someone has a intention? Yeah, so intention inferencing words. Yeah, you should be angry. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, that's a part of building up this visceral, promoting the visceral reactions and a feeling of urgency. A lot of people are posting like pictures of Prince Andrew with a kid. I was like, that's his, and someone pointed out that, like, that's his nephew. He's playing with his nephew. It looks bad because and the thing is, like, a bunch of photos looked bad because there's black squares on people's faces. They tried to do that with Trump. It wasn't an Epstein file. It was just Trump was there with a bunch of women, and they put black squares on their face on their faces, and it's supposed to make him look like he's a predator. I was like, no, this is weak. This is a weak association. This is intention inferencing. Like, it's putting. I mean, the real phrase for this is mind reading, right? Mind reading. So that's actually pretty good. I like that a lot better. Thank you, Scott Adams. Rest in peace. Yes. So mind reading, like, it's telling me that I'm downplaying the Epstein files. Like, that's not my intention to do that. Like, how are you? You're just mind reading at this point, right? I'm not downplaying it. I'm just stating a fact that's not consistent with your narrative. Right. Subject change and hiding info. If you start pointing out, let's say that you're anti-Trump and you say, like, well, Trump was mentioned 30,000 times. And you say, yeah, as an informant calling, or as either an informant, non-substantiated testimony, or straight up discredited testimony, right? Non-credible witnesses, right? So either he's an informant trying to go after Epstein, it's non-credible witnesses, or it's Epstein and his guys trying to take down Trump, like specifically Epstein and Bannon. Like, okay, so he's mentioned 30,000 times, but it's not in any incriminating thing. And if you say this, they'll start changing the subject. I think Whoopi Goldberg did that on the View in the last day or two, because she was saying, like, well, he's in the files, he's in the files, he's in the files, and then she was found to be in the files. She probably should have searched her own name before really shitting all over Trump, but whatever. Yeah, they'll start moving. They'll start doing subject changes. I'll even say, like, moving goalposts. That's a really weaselly way that I found for people to try and maintain their narrative, their message, even when it's falling apart, is they'll start moving goalposts. Right. Principles inconsistency without transparency. So the inconsistency here with Epstein is that everybody believes in innocent until proven guilty if you're an American. That's like a pretty important thing, right? We also believe that you have to have, like, evidence and not just associations. However, a bunch of people on the left and on the woke right decided to just throw out that shit and just had the sense of justice that's more consistent with like a third world moron. Like they went from being first worlders to pretty much being like witch doctor Nigerians in terms of their like moral standing, and decided that intimations and vibes was the way to go. What was it Tucker was saying? Like, you know, there's just a certain vibe that you get when you hear the truth. I was like, what is this bullshit, this new age nonsense? What the hell's going on? People's principles went right out the door. And they're not telling you why, because if they told you why, it would be pretty transparent that they're just retarded. Right? Like I threw out, like we're going to throw out hundreds of years of English tradition, American tradition in terms of what is justice. Here's a principle of like habeas corpus, half the body, right? Habeas corpus means that you need to have a victim before you say there's a crime. But we keep saying that there's all these crimes and we don't have the names of any of the victims. And the people who say that they're victims aren't willing to name who did it to them. So we're like missing pieces of the puzzle. There's a reason why our justice system evolved out of the third world garbage and into what we have now, right? Because this is what would happen. You just have witch hunts. Like Epstein is just Me Too 2.0, right? It is just Me Too again. It's so annoying. And people are willing to throw out their a threshold for justice because of vibes, for fucking vibes. Listen, if there's stuff in there, which all the files are out now. I remember the time that Pam Bondi like released a bunch of like redacted files, but if you just copy pasted, the black squares didn't actually stop the text. You could just copy paste it and see what was under the redactions. God, our DOJ is so retarded. Oh my God. And that's another thing, by the way, is like principle of consistency. If someone's like all go MAGA Trump all the time, I'm also like, you're probably retarded because you're not able to criticize Trump or his cabinet at all. Right? Like after the Alex Preddy shooting, Kash Patel's messaging that, well, if you show up with a protest with a gun and 2 mags and an optic, you're there for trouble. I was like, that's retarded. What are you talking about? Some people just carry you another mag. Like you can't infer intent based on the kit they're carrying, especially if even our interpretations of the Second Amendment is if it's normal and regular behavior, like regulated, right? If it's regular behavior, that's fine. Almost everyone carries a spare mag. Like sometimes you have a mechanical failure in the magazine. So you're just going to say that this person's Alex Preddy's fairly normal loadout of like primary mag, spare mag, gun with an optic is somehow intent. It's like, well, everyone has intent then. Just about everyone has a gun. Anyways, yeah. So inability to criticize Trump's cabinet, I find is a big red flag. Like, okay, well, I know you're not going to be here when we need you. Inconsistency with the people who don't like Trump. They need to tell us like why don't they like it? Because the thing is, transparency would also show them out to being morons. Like if they showed the emails of what they're interpreting as bad for Trump, it's like, well, these emails don't mean anything. So show us your thinking. Anyways, the problem is there's nothing to be transparent about. They're just showing you a message. They don't actually have any thinking. Like transparency towards their thinking. Like for me right now, I'm in front of you guys and I'm thinking in real time while also drinking whiskey. My ability to deceive you will be fairly apparent, right? If you're thinking out loud and you're thinking in front of people and you're willing, and that's why we like debates, because debates provoke some transparency to your thinking. Right? That's why we like debates. Having some sort of, and this is why I also like having discussions with other people. I'm on vacation, so I'm keeping things chill today, so I don't have any guests. Cosmo's out there kicking some ass at some tournaments, I think. He does wargaming, it's rad. And Number Station probably would have joined if I asked, but I got a temporary suspension on Twitter because I said that I was being pretty mean to Ron Paul, because Ron Paul started being kind of pro-Islam with the Israeli stuff. It's just, so I was like, fuck off. There's 2 evils in this world. It's Islam and communism. Anyways, transparency in your thinking. Like I should know how you think, right? Except the debate. Because then I could get to see you knocked off guard when you're not so curated. And we'll see how you actually think. But a lot of people that don't want to debate, it's very sus for that reason. Right. The shibboleth and in-group signifiers. I wonder what this would be for the Epstein files. If it probably would be the phrase, I'm just asking questions, but there's a lot of phrases like with the Epstein files. I don't know. There's not really so much of a group dynamic going on with this one. There's not a lot of in-group signifiers. There's not a lot of legitimacy to grab onto as well. Luckily, our tradition of justice makes it very difficult to have any legitimacy if you are full of shit and you have nothing to grab onto. So like, there's not a lot of legitimacy in one way or the other, right? That's our whole legal system is about debate. It's a lawyer making a case, a prosecutor, a defendant, that sort of stuff. And that means that legitimacy gets peeled away, and it's just down to the arguments. So we've done, it's pretty good for that. You should be angry, I think, actually is a pretty good in-group signifier of like, you should be angry. Why aren't there any arrests? Those are probably the closest ones to in-group signifiers. These are just catchphrases that make you emotional. They're related to the promoting of visceral reaction, but they are also an in-group signifier. Often these things do get combined, right? Message recycling. For Epstein, the amount of messaging that's getting recycled, because we're getting new information all the time. We're actually getting new information. With Epstein before we had releases, you'd have the same message recycled of like, where's the list, right? Like, where's the list? There's got to be a list. Where's the list? And you'd have other things that would come up over and over again, like most powerful people, cabal of this, globalists, that sort of stuff. And you'd have this like very titillating message recycling going through, and it's almost the message recycling is usually a sign of NPC programming when you're programming people, right? There's definitely a lot of just asking questions. I'm going to say substance less incitement is the just asking questions. There's been so much message bombardment. I thought I muted Epstein on Twitter. I guess it started going through again because I started getting more Epstein stuff, but I was already tired of it. Like, Epstein has been nonstop ever since Pam Bondi brought out those binders. I was like, for fuck's sake. So yeah, definitely bombarding, and it's counterproductive at a certain point because a lot of people are just tired of it, and it's not reflecting in the polls. Again, only counts the wins, ignore the losses. This is an interesting one. I actually had an argument with Aiden Mattis. He's the one who does the Lore Lodge podcast. And he was praising Thomas Massey. And I was pretty much saying, like, Thomas Massey hasn't revealed anything. All of his provocations, all they've done is create danger, because now you have people who have enough information to be dangerous. And I pointed out that there was a page that have 5 redactions and 1 face on it. Like 5 faces were redacted. And I could say very easily, there's an argument like, look, the DOJ redacted 5 of these faces and only showed 1. Who are these other people? The thing is, it was a police lineup. Those other 5 faces have nothing to do with the crime. They're just dudes who are around the office. Nothing to do with anything Epstein, right? And I said, you're going to end up stirring the pot so much. Like, Massey is just stirring the pot so much that people who are unrelated are going to get caught in the crossfire because of all this just asking questions. And the people who are pro Epstein investigation are going to ignore that. Like, they're not going to count those losses. Like, Ro Khanna went up and like doxed 4 of those. And the thing is, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I predicted that would happen with the exact page, that exact same page. So Aiden Mattis, like, listen, stick to ghost stories and shit. Maybe stay out of politics. I don't think you have the testicular fortitude or the thoroughness of mind or the understanding of group dynamics. You're just a little too autistic for this shit. Because I predicted it. I absolutely will take a victory lap on that one. It's like, you're going to have people that are so stupid that they will see 5 blacked out faces on a page and like 1 suspect who is really bad. And they're going to say, like, those blacked out ones must be even worse. Who are those people? It's like, that's a police lineup. It's the same reason, like, people said, oh, 90% of the Epstein files were redacted for the previous release, like before the 3 million files. And I looked at some of the redactions, and one of them was just like, it was like, look at this page after page of just black. And those pages were the names of masseuses. Like, they had nothing to do with any crimes, or they were victims. What the fuck do we want to, why do you want to out all these people? This like need for transparency has created such a massive pile of very few wins Like very little. And I asked, like, okay, Massey's released all these documents. What have we learned? What have we learned? We haven't learned shit. The only thing that we learned is that Prince Andrew gave away state secrets. That was about it. That was it. That's why he's going to jail, I guess. There's nothing to do with any sex crimes. So is that the win? That Prince Andrew was giving away state secrets? Is that what we released all these files for? Who gives a shit? There's not. The only victim there is the state of England, the UK. So it's like this is a nothing burger. There's no arrests. There's no arrests. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why there's no arrests, because everyone's already been arrested, or everything else is unrelated. Almost none of this stuff is actually, like, most of the information that you gather on a case has nothing to do with any actual crime. It's just random shit. Yeah. So, but they're going to ignore that. They're going to ignore all of these misses, and they're going to focus on the few hits, whatever they do get, which doesn't seem to be very much. Everything fits their narrative. All this stuff. The reason why they love these influencers, I think, love the redactions. And the reason why they love the redactions is because it allows them to have the sort of Epstein of the gaps, as Cosmo would say, that this conspiracy theory fits in. Whatever's under the black, whatever's redacted, that's the really juicy stuff. That's the stuff that confirms my narrative. And if I have enough uncertainty here, I have enough wiggle room to implicate whatever I want. And that's what I was saying before. Like, bullshit artists have a narrative and they're going to defend it. If you're legitimately just asking questions, you do it with the information you have. You don't create new narratives out of whole cloth, right? If you have no information, then there's no narrative. People have had narratives about Epstein for a long time based on not a lot of information. And they've spun up a lot of stuff, right? They've spun up a lot of stuff. The stuff that we know is about the same stuff that Trump has been saying for like a decade, right? It's like we know Ghislaine Maxwell, we know Epstein, Bill Gates, wheelchair guy, who's the Stephen Hawking. It's whatever. The public didn't really need to know that Bill Gates got the clap from a Russian hooker. It's funny, okay? Is it worth all of this work, though? Probably not. It's not really information that needs to be public, so much so that we're wasting the DOJ's time doing this, but here we are, thanks to Thomas Massey. But and there's still people that are holding out that there's some greater something in there. And you also see people saying that their narrative is strengthened by this, and then they'll ignore the part of the page, like they'll cite, like, look, this happened. See, I told you it was happening. They'll ignore the end of the page where it says, like, investigators found this to not be credible, and this person was committed to a mental institution. That was literally one of the notes on the bottom of the page. Like, they'd said that it was like they saw people eating babies or something like that. Like, look, people on Epstein Islands were eating babies. It's like, no, this was from a crazy person that was then immediately, like, committed to a mental institution. It's just in the files because it's there. Like, the legitimacy of being in the files. Everything's in the fucking files, man. If I called up and said, like, oh, I've got information on Epstein, and then I just put my ass up against the phone and went brap, like, gave him a real wet one, that would be in the files. It's not significant. That's what you had people just calling into this hotline full of shit. But if it fits the narrative, they'll take it, and they won't count the losses, right? They'll ignore the losses. They'll just count all the stuff. What this is the everything fits the narrative is, instead of bombarding you with the message and then only counting the ones that worked out, is they're allowing the world to bombard with messages, right? They're allowing the Epstein files. So anyways, the aren't you angry thing, like, you should be angry. Why isn't something happening? Why isn't, like, the panic and shit? Same panic and shit from before. It's like, if something should happen, you guys have the files now. If something should happen, go make a case for it. The problem is no one can make a fucking case for anything in those files because there's not anything in those damn files. It's just dead end leads or just hearsay or nonsense, or stuff that's perfectly legal, right? Associative wording when there's no association. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. He went to the island. Went to the island for what? Like, maybe some people might have went to the island when Epstein wasn't even there, when there's nobody there. Just because like Joe Bob went fishing on Epstein's island because Epstein, like, Joe Bob is Epstein's gardener in New York. I was like, yeah, you can go to my island. Sounds good. There's a plane going anywhere right now. Just go there and go fishing. It's like Joe Bob. I don't need to drag Joe Bob into this. Just wanted to catch some fish. But he went to the island. It's like, what the fuck? He went to the island. He's in the files. He's on the list. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, these are weak associations. What did he do? What did he actually do? Anything that's like, oh, he's a conspirator. Like, what does that mean as a conspirator? Was he there ordering the pizza, or is there doing the plans? What did he actually know? Is there a RICO case that we can have? I was like, okay, but you're just dragging a bunch of people in that may like conspirator. What does that mean? Conspirator is also like a weak association. What did this person individually do? And they were just named as a conspirator. Like being named as a conspirator in the FBI files is a note from the FBI agent. That's not a charge that the DOJ is bringing, let alone a conviction. There's no veracity on it. I'm like, this guy seems to be a conspirator. I was like, that's agent so-and-so's opinion. What is it? In other words, what does it mean? What I'm saying is, if someone's not full of shit, they want to get down into some details and get to some concrete, Bob did XYZ to Sally. That's the facts. Not like Bob was involved in a conspiracy that affected Sally that was associated with the XYZ. It's like, that's not anything. There's nothing. It's a bunch of bullshit. But we got to do something. Is Epstein. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like bullshit artists. And by the way, the bullshit artists will bring up the same stuff over and over again. Here's my theory. Here's my conspiracy theory. I love a conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory is that releasing the Epstein files in this staged way, there's multiple layers of my conspiracy theory. Here's my first one. Them trickling it out like this is convenient because it does take time to redact, right? It also creates fatigue in the audience. If they released everything all at once right here, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, here's all of the Epstein stuff, it would be a big news story for like a month or two. The fact that they're just like trickling out non-stories is a great way for them to undermine the Epstein files. I don't think they're doing that on purpose. I think that's just an accident. If the influencers could keep it in their pants for 5 minutes, they wouldn't wear the audience out. I'm worn out. I couldn't care less. It's like, come to me with a real crime. Again, like Bob did XYZ to Sally. I better see like Prince Andrew. Like I want to see like this should be like Clue, okay? Prince Andrew with the dildo in the conservatory. Like I want to Sally. He he did something to Sally. Poor Sally. Until there's a statement that can be made like that, I don't give a shit. Associated with conspirator or the blah 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 associated wordings. Yeah, so I think what this is doing, here's a conspiracy theory I think is really true, right? Like, so staging the Epstein release is making the story fatigued. Here's another thing, is that I think that releasing the Epstein files is also there to strangle. I do think Trump is trying to destroy the influencer class. I think Dan Bongino is pretty much there to go after people. He's getting a lot of backing. I don't really trust his Rumble numbers. It's like a lot. But who knows? Maybe it's true. Maybe he's getting that many viewers on Rumble. It's like a lot. He's like number one podcast and all that stuff. But he's going after other podcasters. I think they're trying to clean up the influencer sphere because it's so full of shit right now. Who do all this stuff, right? By the way, like, don't ever con a con man. Trump knows how to sell. He knows all this shit. He knows how to do all this shit. Trump does a lot of this stuff, by the way. Like he pretty much made Rosie O'Donnell, made her irrelevant, because anything that Rosie O'Donnell this is actually an interesting trick that Trump does. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll apply this to Trump next, and we'll go on through the list and do Trump. All right. That'd actually be a lot of fun because I quite like Trump, but he is a bullshit artist. The thing is, like, we're in the merchant class. Me and Trump are both in the merchant class. Bullshit is just part of the trade. All right. Well, we'll do Trump here in a second, but I want to show you something that's kind of cool. I'm not sponsored. I don't do sponsorships. I probably never will. I'm independently pretty wealthy. But check this out. This is a McFadden device. It's made in Pennsylvania, and it's for auto loading. It's just for 22 caliber, but it's for auto loading. So you see, this is the first time I've taken one out. Got an empty magazine here, right? You just fill this thing with loose bullets. And what it does is the chaotic motion actually filters it in. So now I have a nice row of bullets there. Let's see. Got the light in my face. I think I got it in there, right? Oh, there we go. It's got a retention lug right there. And I'm going to start loading it up. So let me just get some leverage on this. Yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah, it's full. There it is. Just load it up a mag. Let's do another one. This piece is 3D printed, so I don't trust it. This red piece. Oh, let me shake it some more. There we go. Oh, dang. That was fast. Which is going to be really useful because I'm buying an FRT. I already have a silencer for my TX22, my Taurus TX22. I'm getting FRT, so it's fully automatic, and then a wait for the slide, so it doesn't bind and jam. If you go FRT, right, you're shooting that fast, it will actually, the slide, especially when you have a silencer on it, the slide will move too fast because of all the back pressure. The silencer holds pressure. That's the whole purpose of a silencer, is it doesn't allow pressure to bleed all at once, right? So you're gonna have a lot more back pressure, which makes the slide shoot back faster. And it can go too fast. It'll actually grab onto a shell when it's been ejected, right? And if you do that, you jam. However, to slow the slide down, you just have to put a weight on the back of it. There's a lot of stupid. So what this does is it turns the this 22 pistol into a micro Uzi, and I think that's pretty neat. So I had to buy this device because I'm going to be you deplete a 15-round magazine in about like a quarter of a second. So I'm going to need to be able to like reload a lot, or I'm going to have very little fun. I'm going to spend all the time reloading magazines and no time actually shooting. There's an adapter here. This little red thing's an adapter. There's an adapter for my 1022. I'm trying to get good at shooting. I'm a pretty bad shot, but I'm getting better. I got to get a bore sight laser. Anyways, all right, let's apply this to Trump, okay? Because this will be fun. All right, so Trump has a message. He definitely conceals his thinking. What was that? I'm gonna just bring up my other window here. Let me see if I can bring up a window. I'll have to stop my screen to do that. All right, fine. I'll stop my screen. Share the entire screen here. All right, there you go. There's the entire screen there. Add to stage. Just make this big, make it bigger. There we go. And let's see if I can bring up. I have to see if I don't remember if I saved it. It was Donald Trump Sun Tzu. It was a Donald Trump Sun Tzu meme that I thought was really funny. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here it is. Oh, somebody actually saved it. Thank God. All right. No, just stop it, Windows. You're so stupid. There we go. Yeah, I might do it. I might not do it. I might have already done it. Nobody knows. There's a real quote from Trump. The man is not very transparent. This is in relation to the first bombing of Iran. You do not know what he's going to do next, and he does conceal his thinking. He will give you a rationale. He'll tell you where his heart's at. He doesn't tell you where his mind is at. That's kind of out of necessity if you're doing business. Right? So obviously he's concealing his thinking. He doesn't do full-scale message management, though. He does allow free speech. He does not. He will poo-poo some people, and he will use tactics. He's in other words, he follows the rules, but he does advocate for himself. He's not trying to be fair. He's trying to advocate for himself. He just follows the rules. Trying to make the opposition taboo, like Crooked Hillary or something like that. I'm trying to think of how does he make he doesn't really do a lot of when I say opposition taboo, it's you're a bad person if you disagree with me. Like you are now engaging in a taboo if you disagree with me. He usually takes positions that are so patriotic that actually it is taboo. Like if you want our country to suffer, that should be taboo. You should not do that. He does make people persona non grata though. Because there's a funny tactic he does where he will insult somebody so bad and get them so mad that anything they say about him subsequently will sound like they're just mad. Right? If I go up to somebody and say like, let's say this person disagrees with me on a lot of different issues, right? And I say that, well, they're just a fat moron and they got a big fat head. It's amazing that his big fat head could be on his shoulders like that and it doesn't fall off. In fact, I'm kind of impressed that his tiny little pinhead neck can hold that big fat stupid head. I just did an Adam Schiff, didn't I? That's what Trump says about Adam Schiff. The thing is now everything that comes out of that person's mouth is going to sound like they're just mad at me for making fun of their big head, right? It's going to seem like they're just bitching about it. Like that's what he did with Rosie O'Donnell. Is he insulted her so bad and made her so mad. And the thing is, they have to get mad. They have to show they're getting mad. And anything that comes out of their mouth just seems like they're saying it because they're mad at the guy. They actually have to agree with to get out of this rut. If you ever find yourself in this rut, the way you have to get out of this rut is first off, you do have to laugh at a joke at your expense, right? To show that you're not just an angry person. And second off, you have to give them some credit where credit is due, right? So if Rosie O'Donnell wanted to fix her position, she would do a reaction. If I was Rosie O'Donnell, right, and I wanted to fix my persona non grata status, I would get a YouTube video of me reacting to Trump making fun of me. And I would say like, oh, man, that was pretty rough. And then like laugh at it. It's like, that was a pretty funny joke. It's a good joke. Good timing. And then like another video where I react to Trump's policy is like, that policy is not bad, actually. I think it's, and then that would completely restore the public's confidence that Rosie's not just mad, and so then she would be free to disagree with Trump. Right now, if she disagrees with Trump on something, it just seems like she's doing it because she's mad. So oddly enough, you actually have, and this is why, and then Trump is aware of this. This is why Trump will give people some praise if he doesn't like them, because he doesn't want to come off like he's just an angry dude, right? Subject hiding, info, moving goalposts. He does this with the economy, I think, a little bit. He does it with the, actually did it with Epstein, ironically enough. It was like, yeah, it's just a hoax. It was like, wait, why are you trying to get off the subject? Like, why are you trying to change the subject? What I mean? It didn't look good. It didn't help him. If he just explained his rationale, like had more transparency, he would have done better. But he probably just didn't want to get into it. It's a little bit like when you're a political figure, it's like you're at a deposition every day. Was it Lex Wessner? I think had a deposition. I forget his name. He was in the files. And his lawyer was like, if you answer another question with more than 5 words, I'm going to kill you. That's what a politician lives like every day. They're trying to keep it short and sweet. And they're trying to just avoid bad subjects and deliver their message. Because if they go off message or talk about something they're not prepped for, or is embarrassing for them, or is too nuanced, right? If there's just something that's too nuanced, you just avoid it like the plague. Because nuance is even worse. Again, he's being analyzed by all these extremely bad faith influencers, right? And I would say this, by the way, about anybody, right? Obama, Kamala, Biden. It's like, you don't want to get into a nuanced subject because all of your critics, your bad faith critics, will needle at you like you're in a deposition, like they are opposing counsel. So you just stay away from nuance. If you ever want to have a good debate with somebody, a nuance is worse than a point that you're wrong about. It's better to be wrong because being wrong is fairly concrete and people understand it. So it's like, I said the sky is green. My opposition said it's blue, you moron. And I'm like, I still think it's green though. That's the argument's over. I just look like an idiot. That's fine. People think I'm an idiot. It's like, well, all right, that guy thinks the sky is green though. However, if I get into a nuanced discussion about something, there's no depth to how stupid you can be. Like the stupidity for a pretty bare bones basic subject is like either wrong or you're right. And people understand that. However, if you're in a nuanced subject, you could be wrong about things on so many levels, or you could be wrong about things and your nuanced subjects require nuanced wording. Your nuanced wording can then be reinterpreted to mean all sorts of stuff. When I say the sky is green, that's what I mean. All right. There's no way of reinterpreting that unless you start getting into like color relativity or some bullshit like that, which doesn't matter. So nuanced subjects, if you're ever speaking publicly and you're under scrutiny, just stay away from anything nuanced, which is why politicians give a lot of like, I don't know, let's say about Reagan's amnesty. That's kind of like a nuanced subject, maybe it's not. What is new? Oh, Second Amendment stuff, right? That's really nuanced. There's a reason why Trump doesn't ever want to talk about guns, right? And people say they're a 2A absolutist. I don't know what that means. I want to say I'm a 2A absolutist because it sounds nice, right? It's good to be an absolutist. When you're an absolutist, you always know the answer. The problem is that I've lived in Daytona Beach, and I've seen a man who is on meth at the beach, walking with a gun, waving it around. He's not really threatening anyone. And I was glad when the police officer took the meth man's gun away. I'm sorry, I'm not a 2A absolutist, apparently. I got into an argument with Phil That Remains, the Timcast's like meathead co-host. And I was like, and I used that exact example. And he was like, you're just exaggerating. I was like, you ever lived in Daytona Beach? This is Florida, man. Being on drugs and owning guns is like it's like normal stuff over there. It's like going to church on Sunday. It's like, yeah. So there's times it's like, well, he's infringing his rights. Like, I'm kind of okay with him being infringing his rights at the moment because he doesn't seem like he's in his right mind. And he has a gun and he's just sort of waving it around. So sorry. I don't get to be a 2A absolutist. I'm too experienced in life to be a 2A absolutist. I don't ever want to talk about that. I don't ever publicly talk about 2A for that reason because it's really nuanced. Okay? All right. So Trump doesn't really have the shibboleths and in-group signifiers except for like the MAGA hat. He doesn't do a lot of that. He recycles messages like crazy though. Like he's been saying the same shit for decades. He's been saying the same stuff since his first term. Right? He does a lot of message recycling, but there is a lot of new stuff going on. So he's really just trying to stay on message. Substanceless incitement. He doesn't do, well, actually he does. He does a lot of this, actually. Trump does a lot of this. He says, now, sometimes he does have substance. Like he said, not a lot of good things going on that island. And he meant something by it. Sometimes he says, I don't know how that person's, I don't know if I trust that person's thinking. Like he will throw vague statements of disparagement at his opposition. That happens all the time. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the quote was. It was saying like, I don't know about this guy. I'm not so sure. Right. Sort of thing. Yeah. He does that all the time. Message bombardment. He does a lot of this. He does a lot of message bombardment. He doesn't do the message bombardment. He does count his wins. He does not count his losses. He ignores his losses. Usually his losses turn into wins later. So I give him some credit for that. Like with the SCOTUS thing, the SCOTUS ruling from today, he's going to undo. He already undid it. So he had a loss, technically, sure, but he's just doesn't give a fuck. And he through methods that I am not so privy, like I'm not super read up on. He is not only got the tariffs back, but he's doing it 10% over on everybody, just because fuck them. He did make a substanceless incitement. We'll see. The thing is, it's substance indeterminate. Often the stuff he does incite actually has some substance. We just don't know about it yet. Influencers are different than a president because influencers don't have information that we don't have, right? Presidents have a lot of information we don't have. He's saying right now that he's inciting right now that the courts are under foreign influence, which wouldn't surprise me, actually. Like justices don't make a lot of money and they live in a very expensive area. Like, and what was it? Justice Thomas had a big book deal a few years ago that was kind of sus. People were not super happy about that. That's the only way they can make a lot of money, right? They are public servants and they also sacrifice quite a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was payola, especially like Ketanji Jackson. She seems like she just bullshits anyway. So she could bullshit for extra money from a foreigner. Why not? It'd be funny if it was true. It'd be really funny if he found something and forced them to resign so he can just appoint. It'd be so funny if he just appointed like 3 different justices. I mean, he might. Who knows? I don't know what the age of people are, but yeah, definitely counts the wins, ignores the losses. However, I give him some leeway because a lot of his losses turn into wins. Like today was pretty fast turnaround. That's probably the fastest turnaround from apparent loss to win that we've seen. But it's he does a backflip. He falls down and ends up doing a backflip. That's how it goes. Everything fits their narrative. He does say when stuff hasn't worked out. But he does stay on message. I think COVID was the weakest when it comes to narratives. I think COVID actually did throw him for a loop. So score 1 for the Chinese. Did a good job with your bat virus, with your monkey bullshit. The Wuhan virology lab of coronavirus might have came from there. Yeah. He doesn't do a lot of fear. He does a lot of pride. And he mostly just, I don't think, like, mockery of your enemy is not quite so visceral. Like, laughing is strangely not a terribly visceral thing, right? It is connected to our body quite a bit, but it's actually kind of a way of elevating your mind, right? When you're laughing at something, typically you're being elevated. It's not that visceral what it does to you. Like, humor is a huge part of learning. It's a huge part of, there's an entire school of drama that is the comedy, right? So yeah, laughter is not terribly visceral. He doesn't do a lot of this. Obama did a lot more of that. He will say stuff like they're destroying our country. They. That's probably the closest thing. He's not terribly wrong, though. He does not do a lot of associative wording as far as I know. So anyways, yeah, he does some of these. And I said, like, from the get-go, Donald Trump is absolutely a bullshit artist. He's a very good one. Almost every good merchant is a bullshit artist because you have to be. Usually you're selling a product before it's ready. Usually you're trying to have your product punch above its weight. Usually you're trying to disparage the other product, your opponent's product, so that you can take market share, right? So yes, all of us sales guys are bullshit artists. News at 11, right? All right. Let's see if there's anything else I want to cover. I don't think I do. I think that might be everything. How's everybody doing out there? I had my way at Nick Fuentes. Yeah, I got banned off of Twitter for the week. So I'm off of Twitter for the week. I said Ron Paul can go drink bleach. I guess you're not supposed to say that. He was running cover for the... I don't know what is with libertarians have completely fallen apart. I don't understand it. Like, I was a libertarian when I was in high school, and it seems like all of my and I liked Thomas Massey, and I liked Rand Paul, but it seems like libertarianism just doesn't work anymore in this new world we live in. I'm working on a script right now. I can actually probably put up on the screen. Let me see. Working on the script right now. I've got about how many words is this? Okay, if I put it in a word, 2,200 words on how the world is now run by merchants. Trump is a merchant. It's saying the world is run by merchants. I guess what I'm saying is led by merchants. The world has been run by merchants probably since the Venetians. I haven't watched this show yet. Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I want to watch that show. I'm waiting for my wife. She's got like seasonal affective disorder. So she doesn't have energy for anything, and I don't want to watch like a medieval thing without her. She's way into that, so I'm waiting for her to be over it, and then I'll watch it with her. I heard it's a good show, man. I heard it's a really good show. Like, we need heroes to just be heroes. Like, make it simple. Just sell me a simple product. I just want milk, right? I don't want almond milk. I don't want this other grass-fed organic milk. I just want a fucking glass of milk. Just give me a glass of milk, please. Just a normal ass glass of milk. I don't need the gay pride colors on my glass of milk. I don't need any of this bullshit. Yeah. This winter around here is dreary as hell. We have right now it's like Silent Hill season. So it was like Winter Wonderland season for a bit, and now it's getting like cold and foggy at certain times of day. So last week was all Silent Hill. And when I say Silent Hill, is like I'm up in elevation a little bit in the Appalachian plateau. So we're in the clouds. Visibility of maybe 50 yards. Yeah. It's 100 yards to my back fence, and I could not see my back fence at all. But yeah, the weather will F you up, man, really bad. And it's not just the vitamin D. It's also just the routine, the sun, the time when the sun goes down. It's rough. Sun was only going down at like This is going down to like 4 o'clock for a while now. I think it's down to 5:30 now. So I'm ready for the summer. Fuck this. Fuck winter. I'm so done with it. I gotta start leaving on vacation or something, getting the hell away from here, go to Florida or something for the winter. I guess I could afford a winter home. It just seems like cheating. Seems like cheating. That seems like the bougiest shit. We'll see. I mean, if it's affecting my wife's depression or something like that, and same for me, if it's affecting our energy levels, then you don't have to live like this if we don't have to. We'll just go get a beach house or something. Rent it. Who knows? Check my finances. I don't know. I make more money now than I've made before in my life, and I have way fewer liabilities. I'm a massive cheapskate. I drive the Will Stancil mobile, a Honda Fit, a black Honda Fit. I paid that thing off in like 2017. It's a 2015 model. And that's my car. That's all I've been using. And I tell you, man, I can haul like 30 boards of 2x4 pressure treated in that thing. So I use that thing like a pickup truck with its hatchback. So I'm a big penny pincher. I've always been poor growing up. So I don't use a lot of money. Now I'm using money like crazy, and I still have plenty of money. So we'll see. The thing I always encourage a lot of people to, oh, nice. You got free buses. That's awesome. I wish I lived in like an urban area. I'm more of an urbanite than I am a country person, but I just don't have confidence in our urban environments or even our suburban environments to be good. I used to live in Crofton, Maryland. I loved Crofton. Not urban. That's very suburban. It's like a town that was built originally around a golf course. It's very English. It's very British in like the way it's set up. But I grew up there, and it was great to come back there, and it's just a nice community. But the problem is, like, COVID hit, and everyone became all these nice people that would be in their joggers and running about, say hi, hey, how's it going? Oh, how are the kids? Kids are great. Thanks for asking. I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. And then they turn into like raging libtards, like they'll just lynch you. So I felt like I was like, people just eyeing me up to lynch me. I was like, if they knew I'm a Trump supporter, they're going to kill me. I'm like, I don't want to live with a bunch of people that want to kill me. That's not good. So I end up leaving. And now I live in the country, which is all right. It's all right. I wish I lived in a city. I wish there were cities I could live in. Go live in Singapore or something, right? But yeah, the sort of bullshit artists are really important tactically on our side. So I don't disparage someone for being a bullshit artist, but I just don't. One thing I don't like is I don't know who people are working for, right? I don't know who Elijah Schaffer works for. I guess El Salvador sometimes. It's like they work for whoever's paying them. I was like, the problem is it's so easy to know they're getting paid, so they're not even useful. I would say that our side should pay them. Are you doing a good job? We should pay you. Find some foundation that will just pay influence. But the problem is all of our influencers are so bad at concealing the message. They're actually pretty bad at delivering it. I feel like the 1960s communist subversives were so much better at delivering the message. So now I'm just like, everybody just have at it, whatever. I have confidence that the truth will exonerate us. The truth will vindicate us. The truth will set us free. So I'm like, yeah, just tell the truth. I don't want to pay for anything. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this sort of R.N. McIntyre academic agent style, or Nick Fuente style curation of the message. I don't give a shit about curating the message anymore. Just like the message is the message. Like, whatever is the truth is the message, right? Yes, there's a certain like thing about being around people, and not being social. That's kind of something comforting. Just like stuff is happening. You could people watch. There's a lot of psychological stuff. I love the there should be a study. There should be a field of study for it. But there's like, it's not ergonomics because it's not physical. It's like psychological ergonomics. It's like, what is the natural psychological state of humanity and of humans, right? Like, would it be beneficial to, like, how much conflict should we have? How much agreement should we have? Like, maybe leftists would be more normal if people would, I don't know, just listen to them for half an hour or an hour a day. I don't know what it seems to me. A lot of leftism is in-group signaling. Like, it's very tyrannical in-group signaling, which is why they say the left eats their own, right? That's the reason why. It's because it's so easy to knock them off of off message and then just get consumed because being on message means being in their social sphere. And to be made a pariah is totaling. Like, they won't work with you. They don't want to deal with you. They'll use you they'll like cannibalize you for social clout. Right. So it's like, how do you fix that? I think you don't. There's some ergonomics of psychology that, because I don't think they're bad people. I just think that they're people. Also, okay, a lot of leftists, like the normal leftists, are just sort of like vessels waiting for demonic possession, more or less. But I would like to fix them. I just don't know if that's possible. I don't know. But I'm hoping to be in, I don't know who wants to go to DC for the 250th, but I want to be there for the 4th of July. Shit, that's in 5 months. 4 months, really. Yeah, 4.5 months. Yeah, that's what the hijack is. Like, the leftists do mean well, and they're trying to be moral, but the power of morality is one of the reasons why the Christian religion, right, and the Jewish religion is like the downfall from heaven was humanity trying to understand morality and losing its innocence. It's very powerful stuff to start making morality, and it can destroy your entire civilization if you do, which is why I don't dabble in like moral judgment. Not because there isn't a lot of moral judging to do. It's just because it's very dangerous to do that. It almost no good ever comes of it. It's almost like dealing with corruption, right? Like Warhammer style corruption. If you start doing a lot of moral judging of people, and you'll see women do this all the time. I'm sorry to single out women, but like women do so much moral judging. And they're so prone to it. And you can see it destroy them. Like, it almost physically destroys them. It just ages them up. You know, it's better when they say like, oh, and that's why we like the Southern belles who will just like, oh, bless your heart. It's like sort of thing. You know, yeah, but for the 250th anniversary, birthday of America, I want to be in DC. I have to see if I can commission some sort of colonial outfit or something. I don't know if I have the money for that. Penny pinching. It's not like I'm going to a party. I could probably just wear a MAGA hat and be fine. Anyways, yeah, man. There's my oh, you're looking for a nice Mormon girl. Oh, there you go. I don't know where here is for you, but like, the Mormons are very organized. They actually have a singles ward. They actually have a church that's for singles. But they'll hook you up. Like, usually you just have to find other Mormons. This is a part about I'm going to do a stream on dating advice at some point, but a lot of people will get sort of turned off if like, oh, I met this really great guy, but turns out he's married. It's like, that married guy knows single dudes. Like, impress the married guy, because the married guy's gonna be like thinking, I know like 5 single dudes. I like 5 single. Yeah, if you're in Utah but you're not Mormon, you could probably get a girl that doesn't want to be Mormon anymore if you wanted her, or if you care. Some girls are like really. I've known girls who won't marry outside the religion, and I've known. Oh man, I went to high school with this really hot, very very attractive, very hot girl, who's also like very musically inclined, singing, piano, violin, all this stuff. And I didn't even try because she's Mormon. And it turns out she ended up marrying a guy that wasn't Mormon. I was like, I should have fucking tried. Shit. Oh, well, you know. There's more ice than whiskey. Yeah, so just try it. You got to try sometimes, but they're pretty organized. They usually go by referrals. I don't know. Mormons like musical theater. I've heard that backflipping is a thing that dudes will do too to impress Mormon women. I don't know. You know more than me, man. But I wish you luck on your quest for a Mormon woman. The Mormons do produce good women. I know that Benign Number Station is not here to defend Catholicism, but I do have an observation of Catholicism that Catholic women are very morally domineering in a way I don't much care for. Like, very you got to do it this way, and you have to be a decent, upright. Like, I feel like I feel like if I married a Catholic girl, I feel like I'd be marrying like a suffragette, or like marrying an abolitionist or something like that, who's just gonna tell me my business all day. That seems like really annoying. Italian women notwithstanding. I think Italian women are pretty nice. But yeah. I'll have to ask Number Station about that. Because I'll meet all these like Catholic people. They're like, oh, the Catholic Church is great, it's great, it's great. And it's like, yeah, but you're still single and you're unhappy. It's like, why is that a thing? I think at church, one of its primary jobs is to try and hook young people up to get married. Because marriage and the church are so closely related, at least in Christianity. It's like, that is like a primary. If you're not doing that, you're actually just failing as a church. You should be able to, if you have a church, if you're in a church, they should be at least trying to like get you match made, you know? And I think the Mormons put up the best concerted effort to do it. That's just my observation. I don't think the Catholics have an equivalent. I've talked to a lot of Catholics that are looking for marriage, and I ask if there's like some sort of thing that the Catholic Church does to help them out. And I mean, the 3 people I talked to said no. So seems like a missed opportunity. But then again, I don't know what churches even do. I feel like so for me, I was always a part of a home church, like very close knit sort of thing. It seems weird to me that a church would allow its members to be in debt, right? Like if I had a church, an ideal church, one of my goals if I ran a church was that no one should have a mortgage, or at least like no one should have a mortgage they can't handle, or at least like if they lost their job, they wouldn't lose their house. Everyone would pitch in and help. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so much uncertainty in this world. And you get this collection of people together, and you think they'd be able to help each other overcome a lot of the worldly, materialistic obstacles of life. But I just don't see it. I just don't see the church helping people overcome the material. But maybe this. I mean, that might spoil people too much. I don't know. It might pervert the incentives of being in a church. So who knows? I just know that like people should help each other out. They're in a church. I don't know why they don't. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. About an hour and 30. I just wanted to pop in, talk about the bullshit artists. I will see if I could throw this list I made into the description. If you want to try it out, go and try applying it out on Twitter. Just name it. If you just reply with what logical fallacy people are using, right? One of the logical fallacies I see most often is false dichotomy. Well, if you're not for prosecuting people in the Epstein files, then you're trying to hide pedos or something like that. You're trying to protect pedophiles. Like, that's a false dichotomy. I might also just think that there's nothing in there. Right? I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard them make the case. Right? I was like, I'd like to see who's in there that isn't who's in there that hasn't been got already that should be got. Right? Yeah. So false dichotomy. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right. You have a good one too, man. I'll catch you guys next week at 5 p.m. Central. Peace.